Here it is. Your choice, it's simple. Her or me.
Recognize that sound? No? Wait, let's fast forward a little bit. There. Recognize this?
So pick me. Choose me. Love me.
So this was a scene from Grey's Anatomy, season 2, episode 5. Many of you probably recognize it from TikTok, most likely, because that's where it became more popular. And that's where it also became tied to a certain new genre, iteration, remix of female trope, the pick-me. The pick-me has evolved from the not like other girls, tomboyish, anything to kick it with the dudes, to whatever this is.
You can't be that serious about getting picked if you're not in the gym at least 3 times a week. You don't even take care of yourself, so how would you expect someone to take care of you?
The tags pick me and pick me girl have a combined view count of 6 billion views. And I know in the grand scheme of virality, that's not a lot, but that's still, billions of views is still a lot. It seems that lately the pick me has become the subject of conversation because anything women do becomes subject of conversation, you know. But really, what's the big deal? Who is the pick me girl? Who are her predecessors? Why does she feel like a walking contradiction? Why are our criticisms of her kind of ironic? On the one hand, it's like, can we just let people live? Particularly women. But on the other hand, it's also like some of y'all are acting real grifty, real nefarious. But before we can do all that, bonjour nakam hi, and welcome back to season 3, episode 1 of You Can Always Change Your Mind, a show where if I do my job right, you'll feel compelled to do what the title says or not, because it's not my vibe to like tell people what to do, you know? I want to give a shout out to my Patreon members because without y'all, I wouldn't be able to do this stuff and pay the crew. The crew is back. We are working on things, but I wouldn't be able to help pay folks to do this stuff. So thank you to y'all. You can join my Patreon in the link below. And if you don't want to do all that, if it's too much of a commitment and maybe you just want to participate in some capitalism, you can get some merch if you're feeling it. Let's give a shout out to today's sponsor, who is also responsible for making this video possible, and then let's get into it. Thanks to AG1 for sponsoring today's video. So AG1 is a nutritional drink that provides key health benefits in one simple powdery green scoop. You've got 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients, replacing your multivitamin, multi-mineral, probiotic, immunity boost, and more. It also supports healthy skin and hair and nails. I like to drink my little concoction in the mornings, typically right after I wake up or like after I've done a bit of morning yoga and meditation. Yes, I'm working on getting my mind right. Actually I am. But I typically will have it around then. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, it tastes like healthy. That means you shouldn't trust me because I have the world's worst sweet tooth. Candy is my best friend. And that's why I say it tastes like healthy. Like pineapple and vanilla-ish is what the notes are giving, but it still tastes like healthy, which to me means that it's doing its job. So, hey. So click the link in my description to get a year's supply of the immune supporting vitamin D3, K2, and 5 for free with your first purchase. Thank you again to AG1 for sponsoring today's video. And thank you to y'all for supporting a brand that supports this channel. And let's get back into it.
I love you. In an unfortunate way that makes me hate you. Love you. So pick me. Choose me. Love me.
So it seems that the pick me is a new iteration of categorizing women, evolved from the not like other girls girl. Traits of that kind of trope were not having other female friends and bragging about it, being like, I don't hang around with females, they're too much drama, they're too messy. They're too much. Oh, I think I said this once. Not getting along with other girls. Not liking traditionally feminine things like other girls my age with their nails. Me. Other girls my age with their hair and fashion. Me. You know, you're different. It's basically a rejection of everything we associate with femininity and an exaltation of everything we appreciate about the masculine. That was the not like other girls girl. Then she began to evolve, or at least our view of her did. 2010's girl boss feminism was about wanting the power and economic domination men had whilst rejecting masculinity, so to speak. We're not going to say it's all men. We're going to say it's Western men, Western white males of a certain class. You know, it was the girls wanting to lean in to get that kind of power and economic domination. So, you know, but with this view came the idea that there's no need for you to reject your feminine wiles, your natural capabilities as a woman. Women can be just as dominant and tough as men and make as much money and all the things. We can be like men, but the girly version. Yes, I don't know what that... The tomboy, not like other girls girl was out and the girl boss was in, because those tomboys, not like other girls, they were betraying the sisterhood. How dare you want to be around men more than women? What? What did Taylor Swift say? But out of all of that is where I think the pick me comes in, because it's sort of an amalgamation of this feminized girl, bossy, women can do whatever they want because girls are players too. Boop, 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 boop. You know? But also the putting down of other women, the trying to make yourself seem better than other women because of the way you choose to do womanhood. So the actual pick me term originated where a lot of things originate on the internet. Black Twitter. Back in 2016, there was a trending hashtag, tweet like a pick me, which is basically all about mocking certain women that like to brag about being wifey material compared to other women. And wifey material is a pretty perfect way to describe it, because these gals aren't necessarily trying to be like the boys, but they do want to be accepted by them as the high value, divine feminine women that they are. These girls lean into the most traditional 1950s style genre of gender roles and really like this traditional gender roles where a man is a man and a woman is a woman, and everything they do is about getting and keeping their men. They dress like women. They look demure like women. They know how to be feminine like women to attract more men. It's the antithesis of the hellscape that is the pick-me artist spectrum, or pickup artist spectrum, I should say, where pickup artists are on one end trying to show you how to get girls in weird ways, and then the pick-me's are on the other end showing you how to get got. Oh God, being straight sounds like a nightmare! This sounds terrible! Sorry. So sorry, it just sounds so terrible. Just try being fruity in a booty, at least once. Oh my God, I'm sorry. This is why Utah is banning teenagers from having internet access. Because of degenerates like me. Jesus.
They're coming for your children.
I'm sorry. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. I'm focusing. Okay. Videos online share that you can spot a pick-me girl if there's someone that puts other girls down, especially when in a group setting with a lot of men. By putting others down, pick-me girls seek validation and approval from the men of the group and do so in order to get picked, whether as a romantic interest or as an accepted member of the inner clique.
The manner in which we raise young girls in this culture narrowly defined the possibilities for them in this world. Don't you agree?
No, I don't agree at all. I think we correctly tell them that the main fulfillment for most women is in the home.
So one of the main reasons I wanted to do this video was because I was doing some research on the HBIC of the conservative right herself, Miss Phyllis Schlafly. God, this woman. To me, Phyllis is the, I'm not gonna say OG pick me, but she's definitely one that left a significant mark on the Republican Party, on the conservative right, was good at mobilizing people, was good at getting Christian white women of a certain class to participate in politics. The doll, she knew what she was doing, okay? Born Phyllis McAlpin Stewart, August 15th, 1924, Schlafly was an American attorney, conservative activist, author, and anti-feminist. She was also the spokesperson for the National Conservative Movement, and of course, a wife and mother of 6. So she was born and raised in St. Louis during the Great Depression, and her mom, Odile Stewart, was actually the breadwinner in their household. Her dad, seemingly, based on the research, didn't want to take government handouts, but was fine taking handouts from his wife, I get. I'm sorry, I was doing it behind the basket. They said that, I didn't say it. But she worked as a librarian and a school teacher, and it was not just to support the family, but to also make sure that her children could get educated. So arguably, because of this sacrifice that her mom made, being out of the house so much, working so much, being a working mother, Phyllis was able to attend and receive her Bachelor of Arts at the Washington University in St. Louis. And in 1945, she was able to receive a master's in government from Radcliffe College, which was a place that, or an institution that was coordinated with the all-male Harvard School, because at the time Harvard was not allowing women to attend. I want to read you a very telling quote about Phyllis because it talks about her time at Radcliffe College, but also her stance on what feminists were yapping about. And the fact is, American women are the most fortunate women who have ever lived on the face of the earth because they can do whatever they want. What's their problem? My college degree is from a great university in 1944. I got my master's at Harvard Graduate School, completely co-ed in 1945. My mother got her college degree in 1920. What's the problem? Those opportunities were always there for women. They didn't take advantage of them, but that's their problem. As I mentioned before, Radcliffe was a school that was coordinated with Harvard because Harvard didn't want to have women at the school. So anyway, that's just some minor fact checking. And now for some of Phyllis's greatest hits. From thestranger.com, she called public sex education classes, quote, in-home sales parties for abortion, end quote. She once said, quote, feminism is doomed to failure because it is based on an attempt to repeal and restructure human nature, end quote. She hated the gays, hated liberals, was anti-communist, and not into non-gender conformity. One of her other greatest hits, featuring this quote, by getting married, the woman has consented to sex, and I don't think you can call it rape, end quote. But perhaps one of her greatest achievements of all was campaigning against the Equal Rights Act. So the Equal Rights Act was a proposed amendment to the United States Constitution designed to guarantee equal rights for all American citizens, regardless of sex. Basically what happened was they make these amendments to the laws because we realized that it was made by a bunch of old white dudes out here and stole this land. So like, come on. Anyway, we make these amendments to the laws, and then after, they're passed down to states, so they're ratified, and it's the states just basically being like, okay, we fucks with this. Okay, we fucks with this. This is giving mother. I'm sorry. So in the 70s, the Equal Rights Act was basically a bipartisan issue. Republicans, Democrats, both sides were like, we can agree that all Americans deserve equal rights. Cool. No issues, right? According to thestranger.com, quote, within hailing distance of becoming the law of the land, both houses of Congress had passed it by a vote of more than 90%, but it had to be ratified by the states too. And quote, the amendment lost steam in the late 1970s under pressure from Mrs. Schlafly's volunteer brigades, mainly women, most of them church-going Christians. Phyllis Schlafly and her ilk were really good at what they did in terms of mobilizing a base of people to work against their own actual interests under the guise of protecting your right, your Christian right, your independent right to do whatever you want, knowing that those laws would also allow you to do whatever you wanted. But they're fighting ideological fights in actual legislation. And unfortunately for us, she was winning.
Phyllis Schlafly, probably more than any other single person, crafted the political strategies and laid the propaganda foundation for the electoral strategy that's brought Republicans to power again and again during our lifetimes.
Though she didn't make it to Congress or anything like that, she did win the Republican primary. And it's so funny when you look at her career, because the irony of it all is that she was able to do a lot of stuff out of the house. A woman's place is in the kitchen. She was not there. She was able to have an actual career, to work with politicians, to mobilize groups, to protest, all of these things that were afforded to her because women fought for those rights. Women before her, that we'll get to it in a bit, some of them were only interested in certain women having those rights. Elizabeth Cady Stanton, we'll get to you. Conservatives and the right saw her as such a useful tool because she was able to have them look like, oh, what do you mean? We have women at the front. We have women doing what they want. Women are allowed to speak about things, and these women want to speak about being in their homes. What's so difficult to understand about that? She was a Trojan horse that they could use, especially during the time of women's liberation. And whether you loved her or hated her, you had to agree the bitch was good. From her obituary in the New York Times. In her time, Mrs. Schlafly was one of the most polarizing figures in American public life. A self-described housewife who displayed moral ferocity reminiscent of the axe-wielding prohibitionist Carrie Nation. Richard Viguerie, who masterminded the use of direct mail to finance right-wing causes, called her, quote, the first lady of the conservative movement.
Nobody ever helps me into carriages, or over mud puddles, or gives me any best place. And ain't I a woman?
So what's the big deal if there are women that want to choose a life of traditional gender roles, the normative idea of a woman's place is in the home, or even if she wants to have a career, let's say, but still wants to be in service of her man and let her man be a quote unquote man. There's no issue with that. The issue comes when those same women try to make it seem that that needs to be the law of the land for every woman. Women that can occupy a space of comfort, the luxury girls, you know, women like Phyllis Schlafly, the girls that are online that have just trolling people for views and clicks, saying that women need to do X, Y, Z, and that's why they don't have men. The fact that these women are in positions that they're even able to do that, or even have audiences, meanwhile there are women in parts of the world that are fighting for the right to simply exist as they are, to be educated, to be treated as actual equals, to be treated as human beings. It's really a slap in the face and speaks to the American individualism that is so, or I won't even just say American, this Western individualism that is so rampant. It's very, well, what are you bitches complaining about? Women here get to do whatever. And to an extent, it is true. Lots of women in the Western world have a lot of rights that a lot of women in other parts of the world do not, 100%. But the Western woman is not just one look. There are many facets of that. And this is where we get into intersectionality. But a lot of y'all that are, I won't even necessarily say pick me feminist, but fall into this white feminist category. And you don't have to be white to be a white feminist. I say it all the time. You forget that different intersections of identity will mean different interactions for you, will mean you will deal with different issues depending on where you are. It's too much to think about all that at once. So you just say, well, we're all just women and we all have the same plights. So why can't you bitches just get over it? But we can't, because when white women were fighting for the right to work and do whatever the fuck they wanted in the 70s, Black American women had been working. And I'm sure there are other examples from other racialized women, other racialized minorities in the Western world, immigrant women, even poor white women. It's just like there are certain women that have advantages, and because of that, they don't understand, or they choose to not see that other women are not in the same predicament as them, that other women are not free, that people really just be out here killing trans women and it's not a problem. Y'all have a definition of women that is so individualistic, expecting you to come into community with us to help us solve these problems and to understand that none of us are free until all of us are free. That means all women. It's really not a good look. Truly. This internalized misogynoir, this walking contradiction is very much exemplified in this quote from Phyllis Schlafly about what happens when her husband thinks she works too much. How does Schlafly reconcile her career with her stay-at-home dogma? Quote, "I've canceled speeches whenever my husband thought I had been away from home too much." End quote. There's this very focused idea of what a woman should be, at least in this iteration of the Not Like Other Girls, Pick Me, whatever you want to call it. They seem to be more committed to the idea of the perfect woman or the type of woman that they think all women should be than they are to the actual rights of real women that exist in the world. An example you can think of is with abortion rights. People that are anti-abortion, forced birth activists, pro-life, however you want to say it, those folks have made their allegiances and choices known. They are choosing the child's life at every turn, and some of them may be more nefarious reasons than others. But the priority to those people is the unborn child. It is not the real woman that lives and is existing. And if it wasn't for her, I shouldn't just say her, but the person with the uterus, if it wasn't for them, this child would not exist. But they do not care about that. They care about a certain type of woman. And it used to be, in the suffragist movement, white women having that right. The suffragist heroes Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony seized control of the feminist narrative of the 19th century. Their influential history of the movement still governs popular understanding of the struggle for women's rights. Historians who are not inclined to hero worship have recently provided an unsparing portrait of this once neglected period. Stripped of her halo, Stanton, the campaign's principal philosopher, is exposed as a classical liberal racist who embraced fairness in the abstract while publicly enunciating bigoted views of African American men, whom she characterized as, quote, Sambos, an incipient racist in the period just after the war. Why are black men having the right to vote before white women are? What the heck? We're white. What do you mean? But you're also a woman. You see how intersectionality, you know what? But they were focused on white women having those advantages and privileges, as same as the white men. They'll still be domesticated, all that stuff, but they don't want to be seen as lowly as these racialized people. They're still white, goddammit. Whenever you're looking at any socio-political issue, in this case feminism, and you're saying, well, I don't have to deal with these issues, and viewing it from the subjective viewpoint of your life experience only, it leaves a lot of room for not only pick-me behavior, but this white feminism behavior. An example that I'm thinking of from Rafia Zacharias Against White Feminism is the fact that when India was still colonized, you had white women going there feeling the sort of superiority of being almost comparable to white men in those spaces, wanting to work with Indian women that were fighting for their rights, but were more interested in helping these women fight for their right to vote, where the Indian women were like, what the fuck does voting mean if our country is colonized by you bitches? The power of the comparison came not from the truth of any of Eastern women's actual conditions, but from the imaginative currency of whiteness and non-whiteness. Believing themselves to be superior, white women argued that they deserved higher statuses and more freedoms than colonized women. That potent us and them became an indispensable lever for white women pushing for their own emancipation. So, I am going to ask you a question. Yeah. Do either of you know what a pick-me is?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know what a pick-me girl is?
I don't know. I'm not sure, to be honest. So.
Do you know what a pick-me girl is?
Yes.
Who wants to give me a definition?
A girl who's like, oh my god, I'm so small. Oh my god.
Okay, let me describe her. Someone that is all about not being like other girls. They like the boys, and they want guys to like them, even if that means girls don't like them.
Yeah, okay, about that situation. So...
Ever known anyone like that?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I have known that kind of situation.
Yes?
Yeah.
Do you know, have you ever heard of this term?
I'm not entirely familiar. I've heard about it. I just had a feeling that maybe it was like people cherry picking what is convenient for them.
Well, it's a very I'm not like other girls, girl.
Oh, ew, no. Oh. Oh, we don't like that.
A girl who's like, oh my god, let's compare hand size, like, because I'm so short, like, because like I'm so different. I don't wear makeup at all. Gross. That's my definition.
Yeah. Bravo!
I have heard the term many times on the internet, especially within the feminist community.
What have you heard?
People that don't fully understand what feminism is. There's a lot of different takes in it, I believe, that like oftentimes get construed.
How do you mean construed?
I mean, it is messy. You have differently opinions of people that think that it's just like women hating on men, women hating on women, and like I almost feel like there's almost different subgenres of it now, according to other people.
Subgenres, yes. Yes. Do you know anyone in real life that?
Oui. But my friend is a boy.
The plot thickens. You're nodding and smiling, but it looks like it was bad.
But depending what's your point of view, because we think different each one. So.
Fair, very fair.
Yeah. So it's not like il va pas voir les filles puis c'est pas de genre les chat up avec une certaine affaire cringe, mais c'est juste que
I just love how I understood it and then I understood it. C'est cringe.
Ouais. En tout cas, mais c'est que mettons comme dans tout ce qu'il fait, il va juste seeker pour le affirmation ou genre la confirmation de ce qu'il veut que tu lui dises comme.
A bit insecure. Comme insécurité.
Yeah, insécurité ouais. Mais c'est ça puis c'est juste comme. Genre, I notice it, so I give it what he wants. I'm like, okay, yes.
Oh, but that's being a good friend.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
But have you or anyone you known in the past exhibited this type of behavior?
Absolutely.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
I want names and I want receipts.
I dealt with a lot.
Not you actually give me. I'm kidding.
Listen, I'll be honest.
From high school.
I think I dealt with a lot of internalized misogyny for a long time. Like as a teenager, I didn't know what misogyny really was. Yeah. I didn't know all of those fancy terms that we're learning now. We love that growth. And yeah, I didn't want to associate myself with other women because I thought being a woman was a weakness, like deep down,
okay.
You know? I worked in garages. I'm a welder, so I'm an...
Bitch, work! A welder? What?
Well, not anymore, but I was. And so male-dominated field, for people not to step on your toes, especially men, you have to like distance yourself from, you know,
anything that's feminine or too womanly.
Ew, pink and ew, pretty nails and ew, you know. But like, I love pink and I can still fix your car. Like, what's the problem, you know?
I love pink and I can still fix your car. What's the most recent pick me video type thing that you've seen? Because are you on the TikTok?
Yeah. Moi non. I don't have TikTok.
Good for you.
Nah.
I think it's just about like a girl I knew, like in real life actually.
Oh.
And she was like, she did one TikTok where she was like, yeah, no, my crush like surprised me at like my birthday party, but she knew the whole time he was coming. Like, she's a pick-me in real life. So I wouldn't say that's like pick-me behavior, but like...
But in real life, so anything she does just annoys you?
Yeah.
Okay, true. Okay. Have you? Time to confess. Time to tell the truth and shame the devil.
Have I been a pick-me girl?
Or do you know people that exhibit this type of behavior? Girls are whatever. I'm not like other girls. Girls are just...
Absolutely. I grew up in a really small town, and the main form of entertainment is like tailgate parties and going four-wheeling, you know? So there's a lot of that energy where I grew up, and
It was Alberta, wasn't it?
Nova Scotia.
Same difference.
Good guess, though.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. It's just the opposite sides of the country, but same vibes.
Texas is of Canada. Kind of like the Bible Belt, except that the Bible Belt is kind of looped around a little bit.
It is, yeah. It's running rampant still in that area, for sure.
Do you think pick-me's can be feminist?
Oh, wow, okay. That's a more serious question.
What you know about feminism, Pablo? See, we joke a little bit, but we actually talk about shit.
Feminist? Well, so it's an important movement. Feminist movement, so always is looking for the equality between in opportunities between men and women. So no difference between religion, race or nationality, etc., etc.
Le problème de la corrélation entre être féministe et être pick-me, peut-être que si t'es pick-me, t'éprouves un certain niveau de genre, if you are a pick-me person, maybe your intellectual emotion level is not
drag
high
them
enough.
Drag them. Ooh. Oh my God. Oh my God. Police, I just witnessed a murder. What?
No, mais does that make sense?
It does. Okay. It was just ruthless. Maybe if they weren't stupid.
No. But, you know. No, but it's hypothetical.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
There is an evolved version. You may have seen her on the Talk Tick. She is very feminine.
Okay.
Very pretty.
Yes.
But is the one who will tell a lot of the girls the reason that they can't get men is
I already know. I don't. Those videos make my blood pressure just peak every time. So
have you seen any recently?
I saw one recently of this girl claiming that her people's husbands are cheating on them because they're not doing their womanly duty, and that they're not taking care of themselves, and that like you pretty much deserve it because you're not being the wife you should be.
Girl, even Beyonce got cheated on, and she's shouting out Jay-Z in every other song to her fans' chagrin. So
yeah, absolutely insane.
In the bin. Immediately in the bin.
So on the spectrum of pick me, who is the least? Rihanna is the least. Well, and then who would be the most? Maybe, honestly, Beyonce. Oh, no! I love you. Okay. They'd have to be closer to Rihanna for you to think they're a feminist, or closer to Beyonce?
Yeah, closer to Rihanna.
But isn't feminism about a woman's right to choose?
No.
You heard it here. Fascism on Montreal. Oh my God. Pablo, do you have anything else you'd like to say to the folks at home?
I can't talk freely, right?
Uh-oh, what you about to say? Ashley, Oral, any final words for the folks out there? For the galleys that are anti-pick-me or for pick-me?
Oh. Do your research. Damn. Do your research. Don't believe everything you hear on TikTok.
And treat others like you'd like to be treated. It's pretty simple, basic rule to abide by.
Absolutely.
Or else?
In a bin.
I was trying to say it in French, but I forgot.
Dans la poubelle.
Enjoy your life. Enjoy your life openly. Be honest and be free. And this is the thinking of Hija de Perra. So that's the name of my personage favorite in Chile.
Hey, thank you very much, Pablo.
You're welcome.
Anything else you want to say to the folks out there or to the pick-me's?
Fuck you.
Damn. Okay, well we're gonna go. It's been great. Damn, girl. We can't seem to separate the language of female identity from the language of trope. Ironically, weaponizing the pick-me girl label against other women has become a way to separate ourselves from female behavior that we perceive as somehow cringy or embarrassing, arguably a form of pick-me behavior in and of itself. So even though it is tempting to ridicule and criticize people that subscribe to this genre of womanhood and not only lean hard into it, but make it their whole online identity, it's also very ironic that we're all out here being like, oh my God, those girls are so annoying. Oh, I can't stand them. And it's like, you're doing the same thing they are. They're talking about how women should be, and you're talking about not necessarily an exact model of how women should be, but all the things women shouldn't be. this may sound individualistic. Yes, I hear it, but we can't control other people's bodies. It is not your right to do that. Some people will say things and do things that I do not agree with, that I think are a complete miss, that I'm like, it couldn't be me, girl. But it is not my right to then turn around to them and say, you are not allowed to exist in this way or be this person or whatever. If they are harming people, yes, we're having different conversations. But somebody choosing to be a stay-at-home girlfriend and blabbing online about how much she loves it is not harming me. I can choose to interact with it or not. It's not affecting me. There might be some effects that it's having on the real world, and I should hope that we have enough access to information that people can seek out other opinions. Maybe, but either way, somebody doing that is not going to really affect me. But for some of them, it really affects them when they see people that have the label of woman and they don't agree, when they see women choosing to live in a way that they don't agree. And it's like, girl, like if I post a picture of me holding my cat saying that, oh my God, my baby's so great, I will at least get a few comments of people telling me that I'm participating in childless behavior, like that happened before in this video. Will tell me this is why y'all don't have a man, blah, 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 blah. Some of you may want nothing more than a man and a husband and someone to choose you. And that's great for you. Just as shocking as it is for me to contemplate the fact that some of you really love being chose by men and the center of your personality is I have a man, my man, I'm chose by him, this is us. As much as that is stunning to me, I'm gonna let you have it, sis. I'm gonna let you do your thing. But you also gotta return the favor. But a lot of y'all don't like to act like that because you just care about yourselves. Anyway, I think at the end of the day, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, and I don't know how long this episode's gonna be. Y'all, I just like learning for the sake of learning. Most times I don't have a conclusion because fuck if I know. I'm just out here talking. Who knows? It's research and fact checked. Thank you. But who knows? So listen, be sure to feed your plants. Water your plants. And remember,
you can always change your minds.
Because you can. And I will see y'all in the next one. Bye. Honey, you want to back up off me? Like, Lydia, she's getting comfortable. Girl, I love you. I love you. Ooh, look at this cutie. Get into this setup. Ooh, look at this cutie. Look at this cutie. Get into this setup. She's like, please, Khadija, please. I am a professional. Let's see here, is this? It only took me 3 years on YouTube, but I finally have a professional background. If I can find it. I have a monocle, but bro, this shit is blurry as hell. I was like, what the fuck is the point of this? So I think I'm just gonna use it in the videos maybe as a thumbnail. I don't know. Oh my God. Hello. This wall is so damn busy. My brain, ladies and gentlemen. Hello. Okay. There it is. And you know, those people. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I love them, but this is the worst part. I saw on Twitter the other day, I'm not really on it anymore, but I saw a tweet, T-Noir, tweeted that next year she would be ready for motherhood. And I was like, oh my goodness. Like, not that it's a bad thing, but I was like, oh wow, okay. This bitch was talking about a dog. I hope she sees this too. A dog? I'm dead. I'm kidding. You're one of those childless women that they be talking about. Childless behavior, that's what it's called. Oh my God. Whew, I'm zoinked. Okay. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay,